Welcome in to the Third and Goal radio show from the Bill Austin Studios here in downtown Phoenix. My name is Jaden Sermani. Along with me, I got my co-host, Griffin Peters.
What's up, everybody?
Miller McCaney.
How's it going, y'all?
And Gareth Kwok.
What's good, everybody?
And we are your friendly neighborhood Super Smash Bros. Tournament's favorite radio show. And, of course, as always, every week, we got your Jays Jet Sweep. We got your 10-to-gain weekly pick'ems. We got your money lines and Texas Hold'em. And, of course, we got start and sits, NyQuil nights, everything you need from a radio show, and just a couple of boys hanging out at late night. So, without further ado, what time is it yet? Welcome in, guys. Another beautiful intro from our very own Griffin Peters. He works very hard on those. We like to give him a shout-out every single time. But as we said before, welcome back into the Third and Goal radio show. Probably the most on time we've been, at least on top of just getting in here, getting ready. So we're definitely getting more of a hang of it. Shows are just going to keep getting cleaner and cleaner every single week. So always make sure to look forward to that. Everybody how's everybody doing today? How's life? What's going on?
It's been a busy day today, but I know our flag football team got the dub while I was out doing sports reporting. Barring injury, Jaden Sormani out. Jackson Zuber goes out with a cut on his eyebrow.
Peyton Gallagher's in concussion protocol.
Peyton Gallagher, the legendary center, is concussion protocol. A lot of injuries out there. But at the end of the day, I know Gareth caught a touchdown out there, and the boys got it done. So, it was a great night for them. Busy
Miller
day.
had some great tackles as always.
Appreciate it.
You already know. Hey, it's all about the dub season.
Yes,
Dub
sir.
season out here.
Dub season. That's what I'm taking in fantasy, too. Unfortunately, I had to beat up on Jay this week.
Yeah.
Oof.
Dude. And I already know one of my things is wrong, but... Dude, DK Metcalf had 4 targets. All of them were goal line targets. And oh, man.
And I square off
dude.
with the number 1 seed in our league this week, Gareth. We played this week.
Ooh.
Me and Gareth did get a trade done today.
We did get a deal.
Too. So it's pretty nice.
Look at you. The number 1 scorer in my team this week. Number 1 scorer in the league against the best record.
We finally made some business, Jay. So I know
We did.
it's been long, dude.
It's been 4 weeks of trying to get people.
I know.
No, what's crazy about Griffin's game, too, is that I was down, I think, 30-something before the Monday night game, and I had the Steelers defense, and he had Tyler Boyd, and I think I lost by 11.
You lost by 10. It
10
was
or 11.
really close.
If I would have played Stephon Diggs over DK, which I wasn't able to bring myself to, I would have beat him because of the Pittsburgh defense, which is insane.
I just feel bad for you, Jay, because I scored the most points in the league this week, and you look back to your other games outside of your one matchup against Hunter, that was kind of the toilet bowl game. You've been playing up with the second, third highest scores.
I
every
literally
week.
have the highest score every week in that 1 week.
Which I feel you because I have the most points against for me. I'm the leading scorer, and I'm 2-2. So I feel you.
I think I have the most points against now.
Yeah.
But actually no, I think I have second because of the Hunter week, but also the averages went down. But it's I look at my team.
You're
and
close
it's
to me in points allowed.
It's one of those things
tough.
where it's what do I do?
You can't do anything else.
Hey, I want to pose a question to everybody. So obviously, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm first right now.
Okay.
Does anyone want to know how many moves I made? As far as transactions, waiver wires?
I think I know this one.
It's less than 5.
No, I think including waiver wires.
Yeah, that's what.
Total moves.
I think he's done 2 or 3 because I know he traded me. I think he did 1.
I'll go with 3.
3?
I think it's 2 or 1.
Miller, what's your guess? How many moves have I made?
Man, this is hard because I feel like I've seen your name a couple times.
That's what I'm saying.
Not many though.
Not many.
I think it's 2 or 3.
I'm gonna go with 4.
I've made 1 move.
Oh, it is.
Wow.
It's
I've
just
made 1 move through
What a draft.
4 weeks.
What a draft.
And yes, it's
Wait, what's
pretty
your
much
record?
a draft.
What's your record?
He's 3-1.
I'm 3-1.
He's
It'll
3-1.
be 3 and 2.
The stat
2.
correction saved him this week.
I'm first in my division.
You're
in my
2 and 2,
division,
Miller,
yeah.
but right now, okay. So in this is our 8-team league, the Sanchez, and it includes all 4 of
The
us, and then
Sanchez.
four, and then
It's a very competitive. It's the most competitive league you've ever seen. In your life.
So
I don't know about that one.
only 4 teams. Miller.
Hunter's in our league.
Oh.
Honestly,
Jay.
it's not Hunter, it's Josh. Josh's team put up 80 points this week.
Yeah.
That's
Eee.
terrible. By the way,
Monday
that's
night-
bad.
James
No
Conner's
bueno.
not,
But
yeah.
in all realness, Griffin, keep going.
Okay, so in our league, it's the top 4 seeds make the play. All right, so the 2 division winners get an automatic berth into the playoffs. So if you win your division, you're in. It doesn't matter what seed you are, you're just guaranteed in. And then the next 2 highest records make it. So only 4 teams make the playoffs. Playoff matchups are 2 weeks apiece. So right now,
High stakes. We have a
it is
Lombardi.
high stakes. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, it's Kwok at the 1 seed, and then it should be Ty at the 2. No, it's
Ty's team's nice,
It's
too.
Wooder. It's Zach at the 3 seed, and I'm the
taking him
4
down
seed.
this week.
Because I'm tied with a bunch of people at 2-2, but since I lead the league in scoring, I get the 4 seed, which is the case with my team last year. I led the league in scoring, finished as the 4 seed, but made it all the way to the final.
We still got like 11 weeks left.
Yeah, we have 12 weeks of play. We got 8 regular season games left, so there's still plenty of ground to be had and still a lot of games to be played. So it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping I can beat Quack this week, though. Real test to my team.
It's going to be a big game.
It's going to be a huge game.
I know.
2 powerhouses going at it.
I got lucky with Hunter. Thanks, Hunter, by the way.
That's stat corrections. He literally on Sunday he said he lost by like a point and a half or something. He's like, man, he's like stat corrections. Hopefully they come through, not knowing anything about them. And the next day he actually won.
Quack has 2 wins, one by I think literally a tenth of a point, and then that one was just barely over 1.
And the 1/10 was because they needed a first down to run the game clock out, and Josh Jacobs got 14 yards instead of 13.
That's tough.
Love you, Ty.
Yeah, that one hurt.
But at the end of the day, Quack is sitting at 3-1 and on top of the league. So that's our little that was kind of like our
update,
the Sanchez sweep before the Jays Jet sweep.
I like it.
So Jay will transition into your Jet sweep, and then
I like it.
Get us caught up on real NFL news.
I'm gonna start the sweep right now, but that does bring me back to the podcast days because we used to spend like the first 10-20 minutes talking about ourselves.
It
and
really
our leagues
did, yeah,
and everything. And you'll see soon that I'm bringing something else back from last year that me and you got to start working on. I haven't told you about it yet, though.
Oh,
so you'll hear it.
Okay.
I know we're starting this off happy, but we do got to take a minute to say rest in peace to the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, being all living in Arizona currently. Bill Will passed away at age 88 today, so big rest in peace. Condolences to his family. The thing, if you haven't seen Larry Fitzgerald talk about it, it's emotional, man. But it sucks, but it's part of life. We got to get through it. But condolences to the family there. In other news. Stephen Gostkowski, the Vinatieri replacement, is out for the season. They're not. He was going to go on the IR, maybe return. Now he's just going to be out because he has to do surgery that's going to keep him out. They brought in Mike Nugent and Kai Forbath to work out for them. Those are just the 2 names they brought in. It's not guaranteed, but that's just what we got. Mitchell Trubisky is likely out on Sunday versus the Raiders, so it will be Chase Daniel taking the snaps most likely. Keep an eye on it, but because it is a good matchup. And especially, I think it's in London, too.
The Raiders-Bears game is in London this week.
Because I remember seeing Tyrell didn't practice today, and I saw that they were going to London. I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary.
Going across the pond.
Yeah. So that's one thing to look out for. Because, I mean, the traveling and stuff, it might just be worth it to not start them. I got 3 guys on this one. Tyreek Hill, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, all returned to practice. None of them did contact drills. They're all doing individual stuff away from the team. But, Tyreek Hill with that collarbone, Saquon Barkley with his ankle injury, obviously, and then Darnold with kissing disease.
Kissing disease.
Yeah, so they're at least back. Everything. Bradley Chubb out for the season with a torn ACL. No one has Denver defense, but if you do for some reason, make sure you have that.
That's unfortunate.
But that's what I wanted to talk about. Is we lose another brother to an ACL, didn't we, Griffin?
Oh, the ACL tribute list.
The ACL tribute list. We did it last year. We had a
Yes.
tribute of everyone who tore an ACL.
I still have the list
and there
on
was
my phone.
it was like 40 something, I think. It was a big list. Griffin's gonna look for it.
I'm gonna look for it, and I will try and count it.
We
as best I
made
can.
a list by the end of the year because there's so many people tearing it last year. It was like Keanu Neal teared it week 1. Like everyone was just going through. So we made a list and named every single player that tore an ACL, whether they were irrelevant or whether they were a star.
Here it is. I have it.
And yeah, so we have
47 total. I have the
47 total.
47 total.
I don't know the total this year, but
wow, there's a lot of names on this list.
Yeah, there's a lot of names, and some of them are good too.
Yeah, Mike Hughes, Jeremy Hill was on there.
Oh, that guy's career.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Jerick McKinnon, Quan Alexander, all 3 Niners. Cooper Kupp.
Yes, I forgot about Kupp.
Darius Geis, Jay Ajayi, Jonathan Cyprien, really good safety.
Boy,
he's got traded.
Yeah. Will Fuller, Jake Butt. I mean, who else is notable on here? Carl Lawson, Keanu Neal, Fozzie Whitaker. Fozzie used to be like that man in the Carolinas backfield.
He was
like
for PPR. He was a PPR when Stewart was there.
That was before McCaffrey.
Until McCaffrey came.
Man, Foz.
Yeah, Foz.
Wizard of Foz.
Exactly.
It was him and like Cam Stewart or Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan Stewart, Fozzie Whitaker. Yeah,
D'Angelo Williams.
That backfield, man.
Yeah. So that was if it gets bad again, we're gonna do another ACL list. Probably do it anyway. But yes, we lose another guy to it, a young guy too, second year player.
We could do like a quarterback tribute list this year with how this is looking.
Yeah, I know. It's just an injury list. But I mean, we stick with the injuries here. Christian Kirk is possible to miss multiple weeks with an ankle injury. There's a possibility he plays Sunday, but it's very, very unlikely. And Kingsbury said he's not going to rush to get him back. which is a kind of a testament to him trusting his offense, which is kind of weird because I saw that their only other guy that's ever played the slot before is Pharaoh Cooper. So they'll have to throw Isabella in there, which is hilarious. They picked him over DK, but it's okay. So it's if you're a Kyler owner out there, it might be worth taking a sit, even with that juicy matchup against Bengals. It's definitely a weird thing. This one, it's a couple of things in one, and Griffin's definitely not going to like this one, but I called it Viking dysfunction. Kirk Cousins publicly apologized to Adam Thielen for not throwing the ball. I don't know if you saw this, but it was he apologized and said that every time after a game he gets questioned, he says, "I don't know, I didn't watch the film yet." And then he said he went back and watched the film and he missed a lot of throws and he didn't see Thielen open. So he made a public apology. Now, he never apologized to Diggs past 3 weeks, and I'm, as an owner, mad. But speaking of Diggs, he missed practice today for, quote, personal reasons. Now, no one knows what that is. People are speculating a trade just because of how he's been acting on social media. He followed like 5 Patriots players.
They've come out and the Vikings released a statement today saying they have no intentions of trading Diggs.
Yeah.
They'll deal with this matter themselves, but they're not trading him.
But the thing is that it's a very weird time for any Vikings owners out there because with Kirk Cousins apologizing, you expect him to just force the ball now, which could be bad for Kirk Cousins owner. It could be bad for Thielen owners because he might get the targets, not the receptions. Diggs might not even be playing. No one knows what tight end's going to be playing. With Dalvin Cook being as good as he is and them being forcing the ball, you don't know how much his production is going to be. So if you're banking on him, it's going to be worrisome. It's a whole mess there. They're going up against the Giants team who back-to-back wins with Daniel Jones. It's going to be a very weird week to see what's happening there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not. The only reference I have is Buffalo Wild Wings app where you could pick which team you think is going to win for like more points to get like free wings, and the Giants are favored in that app.
Wow.
So
Usually I would be more confident in the Vikings going and beating a team like the Giants that are, to be fair, aren't really trying to compete for a playoff spot. If we're being really, yes, they're 2-2 right now.
I think they are right now.
They're 2-2 right now, but at the end of the season, we're not going to be really seeing them as a major threat in that picture. If we're being honest,
if they get the wild card, no one's scared. Who
knows if we'll even see Minnesota in that now? With the way Kirk Cousins has played, he can't beat good divisional teams. He's struggling against the Bears.
He finally says it.
So usually
he's admitting.
No. So here's. I don't want to go on a rant, but here's what I'll say about Kirk Cousins.
I'll time you. You're good.
This will be quick. Here's what I'll say about Kirk Cousins. When he does not have heavy pressure coming down on him, and he has at least 2 to 3 seconds minimum in the pocket, right? Just normal pass rushes coming at him. He is a solid above average quarterback. He can make a lot of throws that many quarterbacks can't. He's got a good arm. He really does. But you put anybody with any sort of skill on that defensive line, any elite level defensive end coming at him, he does not know how to protect the ball. He can't create his space for himself in the pocket. He doesn't have great pocket awareness, and he panics on his throws, and it leads to interceptions. He leads the NFL in fumbles this year, and I think he leads the most coming back from last year also.
Yeah.
So once he is a good quarterback if he's not pressured, but guess what? In the NFL, those guys are pretty good out in the edge, so he's got to get better with that. It's just been kind of a mess since he signed there, and I just wish either the Vikings would try and protect him or he would protect the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, it hurts a year after the Case Keenum Minneapolis Miracle, and then this all happens, especially with all the money. It's
the thing with Case is though he thrives when he can get away from pressure in the pocket. That's his thing, and that's why the offensive line didn't look like a huge issue that year, and when they went 13-3 all the way to the NFC title game. But now with a guy like Kirk Cousins, who still is kind of mobile, but he's just not as creative in the pocket. He doesn't have like that Tony Romo elusiveness in the pocket, because Romo's not elusive, but he was able to escape pressure in the pocket. Kirk Cousins doesn't really have that.
Yeah, and Thielen's already, I think, age 30 at this. I think his birthday just passed.
Yeah,
right?
I think he's 29.
29 or 30. I know Diggs is 26. Like it's
the window is closing.
Dalvin Cook, you never know when that injury is going to come back.
The defense. Well, let's hope it never does.
Hope it does.
The defense doesn't get. Let's hope. Did you say let's hope it does?
You know what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. But the defense isn't getting any younger. They have the talent. They have the defensive talent to do it. They have the skill players. They just need to find the right quarterback.
Definitely. Running through more injuries. John Ross is missing multiple weeks. Speedy guy. He was good for a couple weeks. Kind of went down. Kawan Short for the Panthers placed on the IR. So that's a lot of interior line pressure that's not going to get through. Tyron Smith really got the quote-unquote best news on his ankle. He's most likely going to miss the Sunday's game against the Packers, but is most likely here's the thing. The person that said that he's going to miss the game is Jerry Jones, which I think is hilarious that their owner is the one commenting on players in or out, not the coach, not the GM, but whatever.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Jerry's world.
Yeah, dude, we're all just living
It's
in
Jerry's world.
The Bills are preparing Barkley to start on Sunday. Josh Allen is I don't think he's cleared concussion protocol yet, and they're kind of just putting him through the starting job, getting Barkley prepared to start Sunday. So if you're a Josh Allen owner, just watch out for that. This one I put in there just because I thought it was funny. I'm not going to rant on it because I know this has been a long Jets week and everything, but Odell and Marlon Humphrey got in a big old fight. Neither of them did get ejected or fined or anything, which was good. But there's a war going on in the media world where Freddie Kitchens and the Browns are saying that he choked out Odell. The Ravens are saying they didn't. The referees are saying that he didn't. And if you watch the video, personally, it looked like he did at first glance, like in full speed. But then when you watch like the slow-mo, he kind of just like pins him to the ground, like on his shoulder pads, like in the front. Either way, it looked bad. Odell threw a punch. Marlon Humphrey got mad. They got it was classic Odell. It's bad to see because it looked like he was kind of a changed man a little bit in Cleveland, so it kind of sucks to see that he's still letting stuff get to his head.
He's always worn his emotions on his sleeves.
Exactly. So luckily there was no fines, ejections, or suspensions, so your Ravens defense should be good. Your Odell Beckham should be good, Quack, so don't worry about that.
Yes, sir.
I know but the thing is, I think it was a lot of frustration. He didn't even have I don't even know if it was a target or a reception until the fourth quarter last game, and he had 2. So I think he kind of just took out that frustration on Humphrey because Humphrey had him locked all game.
It was the Chubb show for the Browns.
It definitely was the Chubb show. And then last but not least, what we talked about last week and what I laughed so bad at, Zach, if you ever are listening out there, love you, buddy, but the Redskins don't even have a quarterback for this Sunday. They have not chosen, and they might not choose until Sunday. Is what they're saying. So
and they play the Patriots.
Yes, and they play the Patriots. Case Keenum's in a walking boot as of right now.
Yikes.
McCoy is back from injury. He's not full send, but he's there. Obviously, they have Dwayne Haskins, but 3 interceptions and barely over 100 yards in his first debut was not a hot shot. So there's no saying who's starting on. In those 2 quarterback leagues like Griffin has, it doesn't matter what Redskins quarterback you have. You might just want to bench him this week because no one knows what's happening. So that's kind of funny. But that is the jet sweep. One of the longer ones, one of the more fun ones, though. We definitely got some discussion in. But we're going to send it to a quick commercial break just so you guys can see what else is happening in Blaze Radio right before we do our favorite show, 10 to Gain. So we'll be right back, guys. All right. Good commercials from Blaze. If you haven't listened into the 14th Floor Crew or On the Ropes, definitely go and check that out. Both of us, all friends, they're on our football team as well. Harrison Klopp, Jackson Suber, Nick Ziller-Singh, and Zach Keenan. I mean, they all do great jobs, especially with everything they do. So, very funny commercial, definitely. It's definitely one of the best ones we have probably ever on Blaze. So definitely go check all of them out. They're not paying us at all. They should, but they're not. But definitely go check them out. But now it's time for me to stop talking because I got to give it to my boy Gareth Quack. I don't know why
Harrison Klopp plus Gareth
dude,
Quack
it's
equals
just,
Gareth
it's
Quack.
KWOK.
I said
you know what I'm
Quap, and
saying?
it's like you remember playing Quap?
Quap?
QWOP. You remember playing that game?
Dude, that
You
ran.
remember playing that game?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Can't
See,
say
I
I
need to
have.
stop talking.
But-
I'm giving it away to Gareth. He's going to take it away with his favorite pastime, game show hosting. So Gareth,
Thank you, yeah.
do it to us.
I publicly
Do it
made
to
that.
us.
I've publicly
Do
said
it to
that
us.
about being a game show host. But we're going to do play 10 to gain. You already know the rules. I give you guys 2 choices from each position. You guys get to choose which one you think is better. I try to, make it so that it seems very realistic. I'm not going to put Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson again. Come on now. No one's going to have Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson on the same team for now. Griff, do you want to give a quick update on how people did last week?
We had a barn burner of a week last week.
We did.
There was it was crazy. So Phillip Rivers and Jared Goff was the matchup for the quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers finished with 24.4 points. Jay, myself, and Gareth picked Phillip Rivers. Miller was the lone soldier going with Jared Goff, and Jared Goff actually beat Phillip Rivers by 0.2 of a point, coming in at 24.6, beating out Phillip Rivers' 24.4. Miller gets the dub. He is 1-0. Jay, myself, and Gareth are all 0-1. Aaron Jones faced off against Devontae Freeman at the running back spot. Another close one. Aaron Jones put up a solid 17.8 points, but it wasn't enough to beat Devontae Freeman's 18. Another 0.2 of a point. One there by Miller, the lone soldier going with Devontae Freeman. He is 2-0. Gareth, Jay, and I.
Don't worry, it
0
goes
and
downhill
2.
from here, Millie.
E.
The rest of the matchups weren't that close. Tyrell Williams edged out John Ross. John Ross going out with an injury helped that
Tyrell.
one. Myself and Jay were the only ones who picked Tyrell Williams, so we go to 1 and 2.
Touchdown every week.
Gareth falls to 0 and 3. Miller goes down to 2 and 1 on the week. Will Disley squared off against Austin Hooper. Hooper put up 22 points and edged
Yes, sir.
Disley, even though he scored a touchdown. Jay and I were the only ones to pick Hooper again. So that leaves, actually, I thought before, Gareth is now 0 and 4 on this one. So he
Yikes.
goes, and so now the wild cards.
I thought I picked Hooper.
You said you went with
You
Will
and me
Disley.
took
I
Disley,
did.
my
You
guy.
You did.
I did?
Yes.
Wow.
Did.
You
I
took
have it.
Hooper last week.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we had Hooper on
Oh,
there
the case
back
for
to
Quack.
back. Yeah,
the case for
K is
Quack. Whoops, I
Quack.
thought the G was for
No,
Garrett.
G is for
Okay.
me. I'm sorry.
There you go.
So then the wild cards, Jay lost, as he said, start DK Metcalf, sit Philip Lindsay. It was really close, although DK only
It
put
was
up,
really close.
DK only put up like
He
one
put
point,
he put
but
up
he
1.7.
wasn't projected for like too much. So it was close.
Okay, really quick. He was projected 10 and he got 1.7, which if you do the math really quickly off the top of my head, I think it's 7.3 or 8.3.
Side.
It's 8, I think it's 8.3, and Philip Lindsay was under his projection by like 7.5.
Yeah.
So it was under like a point that I missed the actual win, and I almost won with DK Metcalf getting 1 point.
It
So-
was really close there. So Jay finishes this week, if I'm looking at it, 0-1, 0-2, 2-2, and 3. Or no, he lost that one, 2 and 3. So he loses. He goes 2 and 3 this week. Gareth, you actually won your start. You said
I
start
did.
Aaron Rodgers, sit Carson Wentz as they dueled it out on Thursday night.
I
One of the
did.
better Thursday night games of the year.
Thank
Aaron
goodness.
Rodgers did succeed his projections and ended up beating Carson Wentz out. So Gareth, your lone win comes from your wild card pick. You go 1 and 4 this week.
Yikes.
Miller, although you did look strong in the first 2 picks, you kind of fell off, and you also lost your wild card. So you went 2 and 3 as well. You said you're going to start Sterling Shepard, which wasn't terrible, but then Nick Chubb went and scored 40 points. So that also didn't help you, as you said to sit him down against the Ravens. Didn't work out so well. And then I also lost my wild card, dropping me to 2 and 3 on the week. I said, you got to start Marlon Mack. You really shouldn't have. He did not play well. And I said, you got to start Baker. You got to sit Baker Mayfield, which wouldn't be terrible, but he did play up about even to his projection. So that did get me the loss on that one. So I went 2 and 3 on that week. So Quack 1 and 4, and then everyone else 2 and
Yikes.
3.
2 and 3 is not gonna make a dent, dude.
Griff,
As
we
he
gotta get you out of that kind of hump of you picking players incorrectly. Predictions.
I actually, yeah.
Gotta get the crystal ball out there,
Yeah.
Maybe.
You guys
I mean-
gotta talk to me. That's all I'm saying.
All right, but nevertheless, thanks for the update as always. We gotta do that
course.
every week for sure. I don't know why we didn't the first couple weeks, but
We're gonna talk about it.
10 to gain. We're gonna start off with the QBs. We're gonna go Kyler Murray versus Cincinnati or Jameis Winston versus New Orleans.
I'll take it first.
All right, go
'Cause
ahead.
I don't even have to think about it. Jameis Winston versus New Orleans. I think they're going to be down for obvious reasons. So I think Jameis is going to air it out. And the thing about Jameis, which is kind of cool, is that this year he's kind of putting up Fitzpatrick lines where he might throw 2 or 3 picks, but he also has like 400-something yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. I think he's like, off the top of my head, I think today I looked at it, I think he's like QB9 or something at least in our league, which is really good. So against a team like New Orleans, who you can definitely air raid them out, they've seen that a lot. Obviously last week was a kind of weird week for everybody, but Jameis Winston, he's not scared to throw it up to Mike Evans, which he's starting to learn. Godwin's having an
Godwin is
amazing year as well.
crazy right now.
Peyton Barber's kind of losing his job to Ronald Jones, which is good for the pass game because Ronald Jones is catching a lot of balls in the backfield. So it's definitely getting better and better the more the season goes on. So I think Jameis Winston's going to be able to outscore Kyler because, like I said, we already talked about it. No Christian Kirk. It's going to be an offset with that O-line. I can't take it.
I'll go ahead.
Griffin.
Miller and I were kind of like eyeing each other, like who would go first.
I low-key forgot who the second one was. So I
Okay,
want
it's
you to
Kyler
go.
Murray versus
Okay.
Jameis Winston. That's the matchup. So I'm going to go with Jameis Winston also, Jay. You mentioned it. New Orleans is probably going to be up in this game, but I also look at the fact that New Orleans is 30th against quarterbacks for fantasy points. They are one of the worst against quarterbacks in terms of fantasy. They've given up 36.7 points, 21.1 points, and 45.3 points. They did play well against Dallas on Sunday Night Football this past week, only allowing 7.6 to Dak Prescott in that potent offense. But at the same time, I feel like Teddy Bridgewater and that Saints offense will be able to put up points on the Buccaneers defense. And honestly, I think the Rams defense, which, I mean, is not terrible. I mean, they gave up 50-plus points to Jameis and the Buccaneers offense. He looked solid last week on the road. Don't see why he can't do it in a divisional game here. I think he'll at least outscore Kyler Murray, although the Bengals aren't very good. I haven't seen enough out of Kyler to really see the high-level fantasy numbers yet. So I'm going to go with Jameis.
All right.
You know me.
You want to go, brother? Go
Against
ahead.
the grain?
Against the grain.
He goes
always,
against the
baby.
grain.
So like my good friend Trevor said today, since the Cardinals owner died, this is a moral lock for them to win. This is an absolute
did say that. I was
moral
there for
lock.
Miller.
I'm gonna take Kyler this week. The Bengals are actually worse than the Cardinals are because they lost 4 games, they haven't tied any. So I'm gonna take Kyler this week. He's had some good numbers with David Johnson a little bit, throwing him the ball here and there. He's had some good numbers with Larry Fitzgerald, looked more like a competent wide receiver this year in fantasy than he did last year. We thought maybe his career was going down the hole, but with Kyler this year he hasn't been terrible. He's been pretty decent some weeks. So I think that against kind of a little bit of a beat-up Cincinnati Bengals team that, doesn't have a lot of morale right now, the Cardinals are looking to get this win, for their owner, a moral lock. I'm going to take Kyler this week just off the grace of God.
I think I'm gonna go Jameis in this one. I think Kyler's a safe one because he gets you. I think he'll definitely get over 20 in this one. So ESPN has him in the top 7 for Kyler, which is surprising to me. But I think I'm going to go with Jameis because I think he has a little bit more upside. As I think we've all mentioned, this game could be a shootout, like what happened against the Rams. Like it just could be points after points. Usually the Bucs and Saints is always pretty high scoring.
Facts.
They always.
Sometimes the Bucs win.
Sometimes the Bucs win, exactly. When Drew Brees and Jameis would go at it, they'd just be touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. So I'm going to take that risk with Jameis. Obviously, there's the risk of him throwing interceptions and looking, awful, but I'm just going to take the risk and go with the upside there with Jameis Winston. So, looks like we got 3 people with Jameis. Miller is by himself with Kyler Murray. We'll see how that goes. Running backs. How about Melvin Gordon making his return against Denver or James White versus Washington?
I'll take this one first.
I know mine.
I'm going to go with James White on this one against the Redskins. Here's why. Melvin Gordon, while he is coming back, is obviously going to be the number 1 running back in the Chargers offense. There's no reason why he wouldn't. Austin Eckler is great, but Melvin Gordon is the better running back at the end of the day. It's true. But here's the thing. Right away, you can't just sit Austin Eckler, give him 20% of the carries after what he's done. I feel like in the beginning, it is going to be a 50-50 split, especially with getting Gordon back into the swing of things. That's why I don't like him right away with fantasy. I thought about trading for him this week in my 12-team league. Thought about it, but then said, I'm not sure. I don't know how the outlook of the carries is going to go. Austin Eckler's been insane to start this year. He might get more carries than we've seen him ever get in the past when they've been splitting. So I'd be cautious with Melvin Gordon here. I'm just going to go with James White off the sole fact that the Patriots are a far superior team than the Redskins, and the Redskins are so atrocious. I feel like White just could go off. It's mainly off the fact, though, that I can't foresee what Melvin Gordon is exactly going to do, so I'm just going to go with James White and kind of play it safe on this one.
All right, I'm gonna go second, and I'm picking up James White too. And this is I feel qualified the most to talk about this because I'm an Austin Eckler owner. Drafted him in the 9th round because of obviously I knew he'd have a couple weeks at least. Just a couple of things that I want to say. Austin Eckler's caught 25 catches this year. He's been targeted 25 times. He's not caught 1 target this whole year. He's had, let me get it real quick, 220 yards on the ground, but 270 yards in the air for a total of 6 touchdowns in 4 weeks. So here's the thing about it. Is it Anthony Lynn? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Coach of the Chargers.
Anthony Lynn said that he's going to limit Gordon's carries because obviously we don't know how football shape he is. We saw the first week with Zeke. They
Le'Veon Bell too.
They had Pollard out. They had other people around because of it. And when you have someone who's fantasy running back number 2 with 6 touchdowns on the season and most of them coming from the air, Melvin Gordon, we all know he can do everything. He can catch, he can run, everything. But he's obviously a better runner than he is a pass catcher. That's the thing. Eckler's not. So with how good of a job Eckler has done this year with the full-on starting role, it's not going to be just Melvin Gordon going in and getting you his 40 points the first week he does. And another big thing to look at is that Denver is 28th against running backs in the league. And with Bradley Chubb getting lost, there's going to be a lot of room for Eckler to get out on the outside on those flat routes. Eckler is still projected 14.4 this week. So I think you could technically start both of them, and I think they both can have very viable weeks.
But
the thing is,
flex.
James White is a guy who doesn't get carries. He gets all the passes. And against Washington, I don't see a reason they don't put up 40.
I think in this one, I'm going to also take James White as well. He's a safer pick.
We know what Miller's doing.
And he's a safer pick. I'm going to go with the safe pick. I was just trying to gauge if anyone would maybe pick Melvin Gordon, just see if anyone would be going for the more risk in this one, right? But James White, I think, is a kind of a guaranteed, in PPR, like a 12 or 13. And with Melvin Gordon and the uncertainty there, and, he might not even score with considering how good Austin Eckler is. So it's just kind of the way that Chargers might just ease him in. So I think James White is always going to be very dependable for Brady and that Patriots kind of timeshare backfield. So I'm just going to kind of play it safe. I know when I say this, then, watch Melvin Gordon go off maybe. But you know what? We'll see. So I'm going to go James White.
Y'all know what time it is. We're going
Against
with
the
Melvin
grain.
Gordon.
Oh, jeez.
Of course. I got to make up points on you guys somehow, and this is going to be my
I guess it is
philosophy
kind of true.
this year.
This is what
Because
you got to
only one person lost ground, and that was Kwok this week. Because Miller and we all had the same record.
Right.
So.
So my point to my pick is going to be that, James White, he's an okay guy. He's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay guy.
He's an alright guy.
He's been the reason they've won Super Bowl.
Yeah, he scored the touchdown.
He's
won 2 Super Bowls.
He's a
I don't
beast in
think-
the Super Bowl.
Okay.
He goes in.
Well, during
guy.
the regular season, he only has 1 touchdown through 4 games, and it was against the worst team in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins.
He did have a child being born, though. He
Yeah.
missed a week because of that.
Okay. So combined, out of 3 games that he played, he has, he catches the ball a good bit. So
He
in
doesn't
PPR that matters. He's only had 8 rushes in 4 games. So that's 2.
He
a
doesn't
game.
run, yeah.
Right. So the biggest thing there for me is that, the Patriots also like to use Rex Burkhead. They also,
What's his name scored this week? I
Oh,
forget.
Brandon Bolden.
Brandon Bolden scored
Yep,
this
they
week.
like to use anyone and everyone on the roster that they can to get a touchdown.
It's true.
And so
Spread the wealth.
I think that, playing obviously the Washington Redskins, who aren't one of the top teams in the league, they can take it a little bit easier, give a couple other guys the rock. I think that, obviously Melvin Gordon wasn't injured. He's not coming back from, a concussion or something that you have to really ease him into. He was working out with Golden Tate while Golden Tate hasn't been playing.
Coming back from a broken heart.
He should be ready to go. I mean, they want to get him in the lineup. They want him to bolster the team. I think that he's at least going to get 10 carries this week just to get his feet back under him.
Yeah.
And he's playing the Broncos, who, in the past have had a really elite defense, and now, it's not. I wouldn't say it's elite, but
It's just not that good anymore.
I would say it's okay.
Here-
It's nothing formidable that you're going against, but it's it's something that you have to get out there and play against.
It's the Le'Veon Bell. It's the Le'Veon Bell effect. Le'Veon worked out during his entire holdout, but he comes back into the game and he hasn't played a football game in long enough. He hasn't seen the holes. It's all just kind of new again, and that's what I think Melvin Gordon will go through. So that's just why.
I mean, but
say
how
that way.
long did Le'Veon Bell not play?
It was. I mean, any amount of. I mean, the last game Melvin Gordon played was in January.
The thing is, but Le'Veon was there for training camp and everything else between that, and he also was signed. So Melvin Gordon returned. What was it? 2 days before the last game.
Yeah.
So with a week over, it's hard to see if he's going to be actually the full.
But
Melvin
he
Gordon.
also has something to prove.
He does.
Yeah,
It's called a
something to
contract
prove.
because he
He
could
has
very well
something
hit
to-
free agency.
He has something to prove, and
He-
I
bro,
think
he trying to
that could
secure
be
that
I
bag.
could think that could be the biggest thing. Obviously, it is a risk, but I think
We'll
it's
see.
a risk that this week I'm gonna take it.
Very
So.
very good picks of running backs there, Gareth.
He's
Yeah,
trying to
give
secure
credit.
that bag, for sure, Melvin Gordon. All right, we're going to go to the receiver. And these are two, I think this is a good one, hopefully. Hopefully you guys think so as well. I'm going Juju Smith-Schuster versus Baltimore or Allen Robinson versus Oakland. And, I mean, Juju with that new quarterback in Mason Rudolph, he hasn't been getting the target share as much as maybe people would like to see after Big Ben went down. Allen Robinson always, is Chase Daniels' kind of new target and go-to right now. So who do you go to?
Miller, we're gonna start with you on this one. I've started J-Star. We're gonna go to you. So you set the grain this time.
Set the grain, baby.
How nice of you, my guy.
And Gareth will go first on the next one.
I'm gonna go Allen Robinson this week.
I like that pick.
Tell me about
Miller.
it.
Because last year I drafted Allen Robinson thinking, maybe he'll be good. Maybe this Mitchell Trubisky guy can give him the ball a little bit. He's a big target. A lot of the other guys on the Chicago offense are pretty small, actually, if you look at them. With the loss of Jordan Howard, I mean, obviously Tariq Cohen gets used a lot. Taylor Gabriel's a smaller guy. I think that obviously like he is the red zone target. Even Trey Burton, doesn't get targets really that much as he should. And so I think that, with Chase Daniel now after what we saw this week, against the Vikings, sorry Griffin. I think it's
okay.
He likes to get Allen Robinson the ball because Allen Robinson is kind of showing a little bit of his old self. He can get some separation, on guys. He's bigger than some guys. He's an all right route runner. I mean, I think that this week, like you said, Gareth, I think obviously Juju's hasn't been what a lot of people thought he would, but I think that's kind of the thing about how Antonio Brown left. Roethlisberger's not been playing. And, obviously Le'Veon Bell's gone. So I think a lot of the spotlight's on him, and I don't think he's ready for that kind of a role. So I think that Allen Robinson has a little bit more comfortable position, especially for this week against Oakland.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll go next, I
go
suppose.
Ahead, Gareth. Go ahead.
It'll be good foreshadowing for the next segment. Because I'm gonna I'll go Allen Robinson as well.
Money
on this one. He got 7 targets, 7 targets, 7 catches, and 77 yards. Last week against Minnesota, it looks like Daniel really has established him as this kind of new go-to target. And here's the thing, right? When you have a new quarterback coming in, once they feel attached to that one guy, they keep going to them. They keep going to him for the rest for weeks on end until things start to happen. So I think that will continue, and it's just kind of unfortunate with Juju, with just how that whole situation has gone down. He just hasn't been. I think he had only 3 catches for 15 or something against Cincinnati.
On only 4 targets.
Yeah, that's pretty concerning. Yeah, it's pretty concerning, and against the Niners. I mean, he did get the touchdown, but that was just off one big...
Only 3 catches.
Yeah, all 3 catches off one big 60-yard catch. That's kind of an outlier play. I'm going to take a little bit more of the consistency there with Allen Robinson against a Oakland secondary that can be exploited. So,
yeah,
I'm with you, Miller.
Money.
Man.
Love to hear
Money.
that.
As much as I want to go against the grain here, because I love Juju, I can't. I got to go Allen Robinson here. He looked pretty good against the Vikings last week, and he's looked pretty solid even when Trubisky was out there. He is a big athletic guy, and my philosophy always is when, like you guys have mentioned, when there's a backup quarterback in the game, they always tend to lean on their best guys. So tight ends, reliable targets, and their number one wide receiver. It's why we see Michael Thomas, while he's not putting up the numbers he would put up with Drew Brees, when he's with Teddy Bridgewater, he's still getting upwards of the highest receptions on the team.
That's
because
what Juju's doing, though.
Juju in his
Juju has
last
a
2
backup.
games, 3 catches. So that's what I'm saying. Usually, when that backup quarterback comes in the game, they always rely on them. But it seems like Juju just hasn't been, and it's weird. I don't know if it's because Mason Rudolph is just a different kind of backup quarterback, where he's a little bit more risky than some guys. But Juju only 4 targets against the Bengals defense that I think we all can agree on isn't that amazing. I don't think that Juju should struggle with 3 catches for 15 yards against the Bengals defense, no matter who his quarterback is. So it's just concerning to me, especially against a Baltimore defense, that I'll save it for here in a little bit, but I definitely think that it could cause the Steelers a lot of problems, and I just don't see him outscoring Allen Robinson this week, so I'm going to go with him.
Miller, what I'm about to do?
Please go against the grain.
I'm going to go against the grain.
Come on.
I'm taking Juju. Here's the thing. Talent-wise, Juju blows A-Rob out of the water, okay?
Okay.
No one's denying that.
But the thing is, too, is that a good thing about last game is that they got up and they got up quick. The defense was playing well. I think Jalen Samuels probably had as many snaps at quarterback that Mason Rudolph did because they were running so much Wildcat last week. And it was working and it was good. They're not going to be able to run the ball as much as they did. James Conner's not going to have a week like he did. Jalen Samuels isn't going to have a week like he did. Against Baltimore, especially with how they got mollywopped by Cleveland, they're going to be coming out slinging the ball, trying to get an early lead. And it's going to become a weird style of a shootout because Baltimore Steelers games are always good games. With the lack of production that Juju's had, he's a loving guy. We know that he's team first everything, and that's why everyone loves him. He's going to get his. Because you look at it, it wasn't just him not getting the ball. Deontay Johnson, I think, had a touchdown last week off the top of my head. But James Washington, I don't even think had a target. Juju had, like we said, I think it was 2 or 3 receptions. It was just a weird week for passing. Now that they've got a game under their belt where they won, because it's been a hard time in Pittsburgh, I see Juju getting back to that role. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to go off and have a week like Devontae Adams' week last week did, 7 catches, 150 or whatever. But it's definitely a week where Juju's going to get more involved in the offense as well as everybody else in the pass game. And I can seriously say that I think I can take Juju versus Marlon Humphrey versus whoever they're putting on him. I think that he can be able to win some matchups against them to get some PPR points, at least more than Allen Robinson. I trust the Steelers slinging it out more than I do Allen Robinson getting production, because he's always that guy who's like around his projection kind of guy.
All right, so 3 for Allen Robinson, 1 for Juju Smith-Schuster. We're going to go to tight ends. We're going to go with Jimmy Graham versus Dallas, who had a big game last week, or Delaney Walker versus Buffalo.
Quack, it's all you, buddy.
Yeah,
All right, and I'm going Jimmy Graham on this one, ladies and gentlemen. I like Delaney Walker as a player, but against this Buffalo team, they've allowed I believe they're second in fantasy points.
You would be correct on that. They are second.
Second in fantasy points allowed. So they're pretty stingy.
0 points to tight ends last week.
0 points against tight ends in New England. 2.8 to Cincinnati.
They don't have a tight end.
And 12.6 to Evan Ingram, that's not bad. That's respectable for a guy like Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham is kind of one of those tough players to analyze because, 18.1 against Philadelphia last week, and it's just we'll see if he's going to be able to repeat that. It's just been one of those kind of players you just kind of think about and just be like, are you feeling there, feeling not? But I think the numbers kind of align in this case with Jimmy Graham, and I think Rodgers is finally figuring it out now. So I'm going to go Jimmy.
Go ahead. You were raising your hand over there, so I expect you're ready.
Gareth, I'm also going to roll the dice on
Yeah,
this
there
one
you go.
this week. Obviously, like you touched on, Jimmy Graham has kind of had an up and down career in some places, especially in Green Bay. He's been really shoddy there. So, obviously, last week he caught a touchdown. I don't want to get too much into this because I want to talk about this here in a second. But the Packers and the Cowboys historically have pretty high-scoring, exciting
Crazy games. Absolutely.
So I think, obviously, both with some pretty, maturing and, formidable defenses now, I think that the run game isn't going to be as big of a factor in this game as it has been in the past when they've played each other. I think, obviously, the passing game is going to be huge. So I think, when you look at Green Bay's, offensive weapons, I think Jimmy Graham's, if you look at him on paper, he's probably the number 2 behind Devontae Adams. Does he play like that? Maybe not. But I would say it's almost a guarantee that he probably finds his way into the end zone this week.
Okay, Jay.
Guaranteed.
All right, I'm picking Delaney Walker.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll tell you why. That's why I do this. That's why we do this segment. Dallas has some scary guys. They got some pretty scary guys,
Especially a linebacker.
They have this guy. I don't know if you heard of him, Jalen Smith, who
Pretty good.
Who's really good at hitting anybody out of existence, but he's very, very fast, very good at covering any tight end, any receiver that comes in his area. So with a guy like Jimmy Graham, it's going to be hard. Jimmy Graham, I think, had 9 targets last week, which is incredibly high for a tight end.
He did have 9.
9 targets.
Right on the money.
Thank you. That's such a high thing that it's a high volume that he might not get. Another thing you got to look at, Devontae Adams is out for this week. I know that because he's on my bench, sadly, and I was finally hoping to win this week. And so anyway, they're looking at Valdez-Scantling, who Byron Jones will just lock down. Geronimo Allison, they don't have Randall Cobb anymore, so they're relying on other things. So it's going to be a lot of dink and dunk with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in the backfield, and with the only really big guy, big threat you're very worried about is going to be Jimmy Graham. He's going to be able to – Jeff Heath will go in and try and end a career like he does with every person he ever hits, and Jalen Smith is going to be able to cover him. The reason I like Delaney Walker is because, Buffalo does have a history of doing good. The one thing I can say is the Evan Ingram game's kind of fluky because it was Eli's last game as a starter, so I think that with Daniel Jones he would have got a lot more production because Eli wasn't throwing the rock as well. I think in that game he was like 25 for 41 or something like that. But the thing is Delaney Walker's a good tight end, had a rough couple weeks. He's going to come back off of it. Buffalo, if they are starting Barkley, I trust the Titans have a lot of opportunities on offense because that defense is very good, especially with what we saw in Barkley against the Patriots. He's not going to be able to hold the offense as much as the Titans will be able to hold them. So Delaney Walker will have his targets, will have his opportunities. I trust him more than Jimmy Graham.
Jay, I'm gonna go along with you on this one. I'm also going to go to Delaney Walker, giving us our first 2-2 split and the only 2-2 split we'll get of the week. And I'm going to keep this, just pretty brief. Jay, you pretty much touched on all of it for why I like Delaney Walker. Jimmy Graham's just too much of a hit or miss for me. I don't know how involved he is with that offense. He went 2 weeks with having one target, and then he had week 1 and week 4 where he, put up substantial numbers, scoring a touchdown on both of those. It's just, I'm going with a gut feeling that I know Buffalo's defense is good. I know that they are good against tight ends. I just think Delaney Walker has a game. That's my only reasoning behind it. I just think Jimmy Graham doesn't see the targets that we see him getting against like he did against Philadelphia. I just feel like Delaney Walker goes against what people believe in Buffalo's defense and finds a way to have a good game. That's really it.
All right, so we got a 2-2 split there. We're going to go through all of our start and sits, all 4 of us, really quickly as we need to get to a commercial break. But
Muy rápido.
Anybody want to go first with their start and sits?
I'll take it.
I know. I remember the last time. I think maybe I took somebody's start.
It was on the Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. Oh,
yeah. It was
hopefully
okay.
it doesn't happen again.
No, it's good. So for my start this week, I have a guy we kind of touched on a little bit. He's versus New Orleans this week. It's O.J. Howard. Now, O.J. Howard's a very good tight end. We all know that. He had an amazing breakout year last year, and this year he just hasn't been integrated in the offense as much as people would like him. Now, that doesn't mean he should be projected 6.4 points. 6.4 points for when actually playing is a top 5 tight end in the league, and I can comfortably say that. He's a very good tight end. Now, when you got a team like New Orleans, especially with how much they've been air raiding, Lattimore is going to be on Abbott. There's a lot of matchups. The one thing that the Saints haven't really had since their Super Bowl team is great linebackers. O.J. Howard, I think, will be able to get those routes running. I think he'll be able to get some receptions, some big-time targets, at least a deep bomb maybe, probably a touchdown if I do say so myself because they sling that ball out so much. I think he's going to be able to hit over 6.4 points. I think it's kind of disrespectful to have someone that low with so much talent, even with his lack of production this year. My sit this week, as painful as this is to say, I have Wayne Gallman as my sit.
I almost sat Wayne.
Here's the thing. I believe in Wayne Gallman. I think he's a decent backup to Saquon Barkley. But after 1 week, he's now projected 15 points. 15 points. The front seven for Minnesota is too good to be projected 15 points for a backup running back. The thing about Wayne Gallman, he's very he doesn't have the best hands. He was wide open for a touchdown. Both
fumbled,
of it. He had like a 1 yard touchdown, and then he had that 7 yard touchdown pass wide open after Daniel Jones went through all his progressions. So it was beautiful to watch if you haven't seen it. But 15 points is crazy. You're banking on him to get 100 yards and a touchdown. And I just don't see Wayne Gallman as that kind of guy, especially with the secondary for the Vikings playing how it has this year. They've given up a lot of points to receivers this year. And with Golden Tate coming back, Sterling Shepard playing very well, Evan Ingram playing very well, Daniel Jones playing out of his mind. It's going to be hard for them to run the ball more than pass the ball this week. And I see them going up. The only way that I see Wayne Gallman getting this is if the Giants go up a lot early, and that's going to be hard to see out of the Giants. So,
all right, I'm going to go second really quick. My start for the week is going to be Frank Gore at Tennessee.
I like that one.
He's scored over 10 points in his last 3 games. Gore averages 16 and a quarter touches per game, which is tied for 16th in the league. And he's facing the Titans defense that, it's been pretty formidable this year. It's looked pretty good, but they've allowed the 9th most yards per carry on the season so far through 4 weeks. So I'm going to take Frank Gore, getting that a little bit less of a timeshare now. He's getting the lead role a little bit with Singletary kind of, having some issues, with injury and all that kind of thing. But also I'm going to sit Aaron Jones versus the Cowboys, kind of like how I touched on earlier. I think that it's going to be more of a passing game on Sunday. Also, he's going to have more volume but less efficiency with Williams probably not playing this week. I think that, he's going to get more touches, but he only has 1 game over 100 yards rushing this season and only 1 game with over 15 carries despite having 4 touchdowns on the season. I think this is going to be more of a passing game. I'm going to say you should probably sit Aaron Jones.
Okay.
All right.
Kwok, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. My start's going to be Calvin Ridley. Projected 12.1 points versus Houston. I know he's put up single digits in the last 2 games, but he is facing a favorable Houston secondary that is 26th in pass defense. So I think I'm looking for him to just kind of go off against the Texans. He's always one of those guys that's kind of boom or bust. and hopefully this is going to be a boom for him. And so with that, I'm also looking for him to go off because Austin Hooper's been going off also, but he's been eating a lot of his targets. Texans are very good at not allowing tight ends to score points. So I think Calvin Ridley we'll see if he can have a big game. And then my sit is going to be David Montgomery for the Bears against Oakland.
I'm sitting him.
Stay sitting that guy.
Projected
I can't sit him. I have no choice.
You have no choice. Projected 14 points versus Oakland, which I think is a bit of a stretch considering he hasn't even reached 14 points this season. And Oakland's front seven is, it's in the middle of the pack. It's average, but he's in this kind of timeshare with Tariq Cohen, and again, as I mentioned, 4 games, he hasn't even reached 14 points. So I think that's a bit of a stretch. So, as also another key fact, Oakland has held running backs to no more than 44 rushing yards in each of these 4 games. So I think that'll be tough.
Good point, Gareth.
Thank you.
Really quick, I just wanted to add on. I'm benching him too in our league. I just got him from the trade. I traded DJ Moore for David Montgomery. But I am benching him this week. But the thing is that I think the reason his projection is so high is, one, no one knows what we're going to get out of a full game of Chase Daniel. And also last week, he went from 6 carries in week 1 to 18 to 13. And then he went all the way up to 21 last week. So he's definitely getting the carries. He's definitely getting the workload at running back. So it's definitely something to look at.
That's
but
fair.
It is kind of early to start him to get 14 points.
Yeah. In my 12-teamer, I really have no choice.
Yeah.
I have to start him because, him and
it's a
Carry
good
On are my only
matchup.
2 running backs.
Oakland doesn't
And
have Burfict. It's a good matchup.
Carry On's on a bye, so I'm starting Ronald Jones this week in that league. Pray for me. Anyways, starting a defense this week. It's going to be the Ravens defense at Pittsburgh. They're projected 5.3 points. You got to start them. It's weird picking a defense, I know, but this is the perfect week for me to pick Baltimore. All mainstream media is just saying the Ravens aren't any good anymore on defense. They're perceiving them as this weak defense that isn't as special as we all thought they were. Granted, they haven't looked sharp to start. Just being honest. They haven't looked great. They really haven't. They just got gashed for 40 points at home against the Browns. But I think they are destined for a rebound against a backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph. We all know the talent this defense has. It's still there. It is still there. And I think they're primed for a good game, especially in a division rivalry matchup. You got to start the Baltimore Ravens this week. I know a lot of people are starting to drop them even. I've heard people, I'm dropping the Ravens, so I don't want the Ravens. I think Blake said, or Blake Howerton, Miller's friend from Texas.
Blake.
I think Blake, after the week he just had, might have dropped Baltimore's defense, which I say hold off Blake, and I think you start him this week. Anyways, you're going to sit Taylor McLaurin. I know Jay doesn't like hearing that, but he's only projected 11 points.
I traded him.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
Then yeah, you're okay with it. That he's projected for 11 points against New England. Haskins looked terrible against a Giants defense that isn't something that is amazing. Like I'm not going to say they're horrendous anymore. They look pretty
Defensive player
good.
of the week.
They looked okay, Giants fans in the other room. I see you.
No, that's not what I want to say. But
Anyways,
keep going.
Dwayne Haskins looked terrible. Case Keenum's in a walking boot. Like we don't know the situation with their quarterbacks. While McLaurin's been probably the best rookie receiver we've seen this year, the Pats have one of the best defenses we've seen this year. They've been insane. Granted, they've played some pretty garbage teams outside of Buffalo, but I'll just say this: if you can only put up 3 points against the Giants defense, you've got some problems. So I don't trust Terry McLaurin this week.
Really quick before we go to commercial break, I just want to mention good friend Blake Howerton managed to score an all-time low in my league that I've been running for 6 years this year. He scored less than 50 points with his total team. His highest scoring players, the only ones to get double digits were Jared Goff and Will Lutz.
The quarterback and the
Good
kicker.
night, sweet moon.
And that's how we're going to go to break. We'll be right back to finish off Third and Goal. You're listening to Third and Goal on Blaze Radio Online.
Welcome back into Third and Goal live from Bill Austin Studios here downtown Phoenix on BlazeRadioOnline.com. And you can only do a certain thing with cards. Luckily, we don't have any. We just got fantasy football players. You can hold them. You can fold them. Miller's going to tell us all about it. Take it away, my guy.
Basically, Texas Hold'em, from Texas, the best state.
I didn't know that.
They don't say he.
They don't ever ask,
Hawaii. Whatever. I hate people that make fun of where I'm from. Anyways,
there's a snake in my boot.
Each one of the guys has picked a guy from Yahoo DFS and to put in a starting lineup, for a 1 week fantasy matchup. So they basically go and pick a player that they think has a good matchup, can score good points on a good budget that you could put in your squad, and I have to decide whether or not I like that pick, so I would go all in, or if I don't like it and I'm going to fold for the week. And then followed up by that, I'm also going to be giving out some money lines. So stay tuned for some money picks.
Money.
All right, so who wants to go first this week, boys?
I do.
Get him, Griff. Get him.
All right,
Raise your hand up
Here
high.
we go. Miller, you've gone all in on my picks the last 2 weeks, and Jacksonville's defense didn't do terrible, but Stephon Diggs did do terrible. So
Facts.
here we go again. I'm expecting an all in on this one as well, especially because you were raving about him as we were watching the game. I'm talking about Jordan Howard. $20. He's a $20 pick for your team this week. He's coming off a 3-touchdown performance, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. I think Jordan Howard has claimed the role of the priority back in Philadelphia, and he is playing the Jets at home. The Jets, mind you, are 23rd in fantasy with points allowed to running backs. With Jordan Howard, I think seeing a little bit more work than Miles Sanders now, especially after performance against a good defense in Green Bay. I think Jordan Howard for $20, man. I think that's a pretty good. If you get him in your flex, I'm liking that a lot, and he can still get some PPR for you. I'm liking that a lot, Miller. So I'm gonna present that to you. I'll let you think about it, and then you can get back to me on it.
He's scratching his head, ladies and gentlemen.
As always, I'll give you.
He does have the poker face.
I'll give you my thoughts, and then I'll let you know at the end what I think. So I think the pro for this pick is that obviously he's coming off of a big game, and I put him as my NyQuil Knight 2 weeks ago. So I just want to say, if you picked him up, you're welcome. But also, for $20, I think that's kind of a bargain. Is there some other players that are a little bit above that have some some
For $20 you can get James Conner, Melvin Gordon, or David Montgomery as well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think he's a little bit more expensive in this game than he should be just because of his matchup. He's playing the Jets, and anyone and everyone should be picking anybody in that matchup against the Jets, because obviously the Jets don't score that many points, and they have a hard time stopping anybody. I think that this week I might go all in, Griffin, because I think obviously as we've seen, the Eagles' passing game has been a little bit inconsistent as far as receivers that are thrown to week in and week out. So I think that Jordan Howard, getting a little bit more of the starting job, picking up some more carries, I think he's going to try and do the most he can with it, because he still has a lot to prove in this league. So I'm going to say this could be a week that he could try to explode.
Oh, baby, a triple. That's 3 weeks in a row. We're officially on fire.
Oh, baby, a triple.
Like Trevor says.
Oh, yeah.
Like Trevor says, you're right, your hot streaks. And, baby, we are on fire right now. That's 3 weeks in a row all in. Come on,
Hey, you
let's
better
go.
produce, though.
Oh, my God.
It's one thing to go all in, but if you don't produce,
we are on
You and I will be
fire.
having a separate conversation later.
I'm taking this Quack because I kind of hope that you took him.
all right, wait. Let me hear it.
All right, big boy. You know how I do this. I'm standing
right.
up.
Oh,
All right, baby.
He's got to.
I gotta stand up for
It's
this.
a business pitch, literally.
Listen here. All right. When you're a kid, money's more important to you. $5 is like $100. It's how it feels. Nowadays, $15, chump change. Doesn't make a dent.
as it says on his
So-
shirt.
For $15, you throw it around, because you want to spend $40 on some guys, you throw $40 on some guys. That's how you do it, all right? And I'll tell you, for $15, you're gonna want a guy, and I'll tell you, your guy's Golden Tate. Now, okay, I don't like that. No, listen, okay, Golden Tate, he's coming back from a suspension. We know that. He went to the facility at 12:01 a.m. after his suspension. He was so excited after the win. He's been talking about coming back for weeks and weeks. He's been posting videos of things that he is ready to show on the field for Giants fans every day, counting down to his return. He's been very emotional with it. He's very good. He's 50% owned in leagues, and he made sure that people know that. He went on, I forgot what fantasy website, he went on their Twitter, posted a video and said, I'm only owning 50% of leagues, and I'm going to have a big week this week. So if you're one of those guys who hasn't gotten me yet, you need to go get me now. Another thing that you look at, Daniel Jones has been spreading the ball to everybody and anyone. The thing is, when you're scouting the Giants right now, who are you going to scout? Sterling Shepard. Wow, look at how he gets open. Evan Ingram. How are we going to stop how fast he is? Wayne Gallman had a big week. We got to contain him. You know what they don't have film on? Golden Tate. The only film they have is preseason. And the thing that's good about that is he was playing in preseason a lot because he was only eligible to play in preseason. You know who else played in preseason? Daniel Jones. They've said they've had a good connection. So when you look at it, Rhodes is going to be guarding on Shepard. Ingram's going to be battling with all the linebackers there. Gallman's going to have to get contained because no matter what, he was a threat last week. Golden Tate's going to be that guy to get the PPR. Even if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's going to get a lot of PPR this week. So for $15, I mean, that's a bargain steal. Talk to me, big boy.
Of course you take it, another Giants
player. Okay, so here's
player.
what I'm thinking.
Second week in a row.
So in my lineup, actually, for DFS this week, I put Sterling Shepard in there for $18.
Okay.
$3 more. The one contesting point, actually, I have a few now that I think about it.
Uh-oh.
The biggest contesting point about your business pitch to me was they don't have any film on Golden Tate. That is completely false. He played in the same division.
No, I know. I'm saying with this offense.
With this offense, maybe you're right. But also, I think that obviously the thing about fantasy is wide receivers get more points for how many times, if they get targeted more, that's a positive because the only way they're going to lose points is if they fumble. Wide receivers rarely throw interceptions. I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think in his first actual game with the Giants, I don't think Golden Tate will be throwing a pass. So I think for $3 more, I think Sterling Shepard would have been a better one because I think he's going to get more targets. He's more comfortable with Daniel Jones. He's been in the building more. I don't think. Okay, the one thing about that is, even if Xavier Rhodes is guarding him, which he probably will be, Sterling Shepard runs the intermediate routes really well.
I agree.
I think he's one of the best. When he's in the slot, I think he's one of the top 5 slot receivers in the game.
Can I throw one more thing in?
Okay.
56. That's how many points the Giants have scored the past 2 weeks.
Oh,
Without Golden Tate.
Without Golden Tate. 56 points. That's
Okay.
a lot. That's a lot of good stuff to look at. Golden Tate is going to add to that. Daniel Jones spreads the ball. I know you've seen it because we watch the games. Check 1, check 2, check 3, then he throws to his check down. That was cool about that Wayne Gallman. He went through every progression until he threw that check down. Eli was one Saquon. So Daniel Jones, if he looks, wow, Shepard's covered. Dang, Ingram's covered. Wow, Golden Tate's there. Because here's the thing. Golden Tate's the kind of guy where if he catches 3 in a row, he's going to be fired up, and any ball you throw around him, he's going to go for it and lay out for it because he's an emotional guy. I think this is more of an emotional pull. I'd rather take the more open thing because Mike Hughes might be their number 2 corner. I don't really know the Vikings well. And with their dysfunction, I mean...
Trey Wayne... Okay, so the Vikings line up at cornerback with Rhodes at the 1, and then Trey Wayne's lines up on the other side on the outside.
Do I need to say more?
Then Mike Hughes lines up in the slot.
Clock, it's your turn. He went all in.
Nevertheless, I'm going to fold. I
right,
think that obviously Sterling Shepard is $3 more. He has a lot more chemistry with Daniel Jones than I think Golden Tate would. Golden Tate hasn't stepped in the building until this week.
He's on my list.
Until this week. So I think it's purely a chemistry matter. Obviously, the Vikings are going to be getting to the quarterback. Daniel Jones is going to be throwing the ball to the guy that he knows the most, he knows the best.
Tate.
That's Sterling Shepard so far. So, Gareth, what do you got for
Hey, if
me?
he scores a touchdown, you don't get to cheer. Those are the rules.
I can hold him too, though.
Those are the rules.
We'll be
I'll be
watching.
here Sunday if I need to be.
Well, I'll be
Okay.
I'll keep him. We'll be watching
Gareth,
the
what do
same
you
room.
got?
This is a guy that I alluded to earlier in my little segment here. I'm going with the guy that was on the Bears. He's Chase Daniel's new favorite target, who caught 7 passes for 77 yards against Minnesota. He's playing in Oakland.
Against Minnesota?
Against Minnesota. He's playing an Oakland
They
team.
only allowed 16 points.
He's playing an Oakland team that gives up an average of 40.1 fantasy points to wide receivers.
Okay.
His name is Allen Robinson.
Oh, I've heard
and
of
you
that
can
guy.
Oh yeah, and you can get him for $19.
Oh, let me stop you right there.
Oh,
Let me stop.
I will let,
I'm going
I will
all
let you
in.
stop me.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Stop.
Hold on.
You got to stop. I'm going all in on that one.
Oh, it's a wrap.
For $19,
It's a wrap.
he's $1 more than Sterling Shepard was. He also is playing Oakland. That's pretty tight. Also, I mean, obviously if you look at it, Juju's playing Baltimore. You know how much Juju probably costs, and I picked him in my 10 to gain. So I'm gonna go Allen Robinson. I'm gonna go all in on that one. I think he's gonna have a good week.
Juju costs $28.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jay, I'm going to stand up for you, though. You don't at least give Jay a hold on his or Golden
He's
Tate.
not gonna
who's
call.
No.
Hey, they don't want to
He's
see
folding.
us
No,
succeed.
for a
Wow.
guy that hasn't
That's
played
$15.
for a
though?
guy that hasn't played a regular season snap for a team to come on the field that just got in the building this week over a guy that's $3 more.
I agree with you.
Ain't you pick Melvin Gordon?
I
If I could drop this mic, I would. If I could drop this mic, it'd be hitting the ground.
No, I'm not
Okay.
saying it deserves an all-in. I'm just saying I don't know how you can fold on his when Golden Tate is
for
a legitimate
$15.
Yeah, for 15. Like Golden Tate's still
you want Golden Tate or Taylor Gabriel, Griffin? What do
Okay,
you want?
Taylor Gabriel's out.
one more thing. Can I ask you a simple question?
Present me the simple question.
Okay, how did Allen Robinson do last week?
7 catches or 77 yards.
Okay, how did Golden Tate do last week?
Suspension.
All right, then. Okay, all right then.
Hey, one more week till our boy Herndon comes back.
All right.
I know.
Oh,
Our boy.
we'll talk about that.
All right, where are the money lines, Miller?
That's
cares?
a great question, Gareth. I can feel Jay's envy and just loathing through the table,
I'll
through the
remember
microphone,
this.
and into me right now as I'm gonna read these money lines. The first one is tomorrow night's game, Thursday night. The Rams are traveling to the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored to win that game, -120.
Wow.
The LA Rams are even in this game, so that could be a good money line for you. The spread is plus or minus a 1.5. So they're thinking it's going to be a pretty close game here, and I just don't know about that one. The over/under is 49.5. Both teams are obviously 3-1. The one interesting point I want to bring up about this game, Russell Wilson has no picks through 4 games. And also, Todd Gurley coming back, 2 touchdowns last week. This could be a very good game and a very good game to bet on. I think the Rams would be a team to look for here to break that streak that Russell Wilson has going. Griffin, what do you have for me?
You mentioned the over/under. You said 49.5.
49.5.
You are locking in that over. Lock it in. You want to see why? I've got the Seahawks Rams matchups. I'm going back to 2017 and then the 2 matchups in 2018. 2017, the Los Angeles Rams traveled to Seattle and beat them 42-7. While it did not hit the over of 49.5, if Seattle scores a field goal, they get it. And I'm pretty sure that was 2 years ago. Let's go to last year. Los Angeles Rams traveled to Seattle 33-31, 64. We're blowing the over-under out of the water. It is gone. Like, it is drowning.
Goodbye.
Seattle Seahawks visit the Los Angeles Rams on November 11th, 2018. The Seahawks lose 31-36. That is a 67-point total. Blows 49.5 out of the water. These two teams put up points against each other. I don't care how good their defenses are. Lock in the over this week. I'm talking to you, Gabe. I'm talking to you, Trevor.
Excellent point. Anybody else have anything to add before I move on to the second one?
You do it, big boy.
Go ahead.
Kind of what Griffin just, presented to us about, historical scores. The Packers are going to the Cowboys this week.
This is another one.
Absolutely huge game. Dallas is favored to win at home -175, while their opponent Green Bay is +155. Green Bay could be an interesting bet there. The spread is plus or minus 3.5, which could be deadly because I'll tell you why. They're both 3-1 teams, and the last 2 times they played Green Bay when they traveled to Dallas, both games, Green Bay won. They won 35-31, and then the year prior before that, they won 34-31.
Lock in that over, baby.
Covering the over/under of this game, which is 47 points, smash the over on this game.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like
Smash the like button on our YouTube
subscribe.
channel when we upload this episode as well.
And that's all I have. But I think that historically both of these games they've scored a lot of points. So I think that you could get a lot of good bang for your buck in these money lines.
Thank you for the update.
Dude,
That's some good
smashing
stuff.
overs this weekend.
All right. Make sure you're sitting next to that snooze button right now because you got a little bit of time left. But you're still sleeping. You're not sleeping on us, but you're sleeping on these players. We got some NyQuil Nights coming at you. These aren't the Bud Night Platinums, but they are the NyQuil Nights. And
That's
they're gonna.
pretty good.
Thank you. I thought of it right now.
That's pretty good.
And they're gonna help you in the long run for your league. These guys could be pickups for this week. They could be pickups for your playoff push. You never know, but we kind of explain it to you. And no more explaining than that. So does anyone have a night that they want to start off with?
Honestly, I'll get mine out of the way because when I was doing my show prep, personally, I was looking at the waiver wire. I'm like, man, this is as dry as the Phoenix Desert in the middle of July.
Not the most appealing
options. Not much going on
options.
this week, but I feel I'm gonna go Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
He's the number 4 fantasy quarterback. He's proven to us he's legit. He can play. He's not just all about the Uncle Rico comparisons, the jorts. He's not this meme. He's actually a good quarterback. Like he's good, and he's the number 14 fantasy quarterback. Yeah, and not to mention the dude's just a legend in general.
He's a legend.
He's a legend, and he's a good quarterback. I think there's just if you need a backup quarterback, he's number 14 right now. Take a flyer on. I couldn't really find anyone else like notable this week personally that I would say go out there and you need to get. I don't think you need Minshew, but it doesn't hurt. The dude's cool.
Definitely. I'm gonna go last because I kind of got a different
you
thing.
wanna go last?
One of you guys.
All right, you know what? I'll go next, and I'm gonna go Deontay Johnson for Pittsburgh. No way! I actually did that again.
He's out
no
here.
way I did that
swear.
again. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Miller has taken
Miller's left the
NyQuil
room.
and he is going to bed.
He's left the room. I don't think he's coming back for the rest of this show.
As he rides off into
I'll
the
go all
sunset
in on that
his
phone.
horse.
The
back.
Cowboys back, but I'm so sorry, Miller. Deontay Johnson for Pittsburgh. Mason Rudolph so far has liked this guy in the passing game for some reason. I mean, he's got Juju Smith, he's got Vance McDonald, but this guy has just been the next kind of target to say for Rudolph. And I'm pulling up his stats here. He had a touchdown against San Francisco back in week 3. 3 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Then week 4, 6 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Both games, week 3 and 4, he had 6 targets. So, I mean, I don't know if he's a guy you would start this week, but, you kind of stash him and see how it pans out for the rest of this season. And so Deontay Johnson is kind of a sneaky stash for those deeper leagues, but Miller might not talk to me for the rest of this night.
This is the second time this has happened.
Dose.
I'm so sorry.
I cannot believe this.
This is why we have disclaimer, pick up, backup, just in case.
I am absolutely rattled at the moment.
Not as rattled as I was earlier today.
I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way. Jay has so kindly pointed a few players out to me that I should look at, and I kind of hope that I ruin Griffin's with this one. I don't know what his is, but I kind of
already went.
He already went.
Gardner
He went Gardner Minshew.
Man, I was
Were
so
you
listening?
mad. I was so mad when I walked out the door that I thought Gareth was the only one that had gone.
Oh, no. See, I didn't go at least first this time.
I'm going to lose sleep
Forgettable,
over
like
that
his performance
tonight.
in Smash. Go ahead.
They're talking about Griffin, not me. Anyways, I'm going to take Jacoby Brissett. He's only 46.9% rostered in all ESPN leagues, and he's 7th.
That's fair.
In the quarterback position at the moment. But also,
It's better than mine. I'll give you that.
But also, he scored above 20 points every week. He's been a solid guy. Pretty good starter. Not a lot of people think, Brissett's a guy that I need to start this week. I would look at that guy a lot. And also, Gareth, I want you to know that was a great pick, my guy.
Thank you.
I can't believe when I picked it, I said, there's no way anyone else picks this.
I thought the same thing. I was like, there's no one who's going to pick this
thought that
guy.
last week too, Gareth.
He's wide receiver number 48.
Hey, as they always say, great minds think alike, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
This is what third and goal does for you.
What did I say in the very first show about Jacoby Brissett slander? Not taking any of it.
Not taking it.
Not taking
Nope.
it.
Not
It's
taking
a
it.
top
Nada.
10 quarterback.
He's versing Kansas City this week. That's a money
top 10
matchup.
quarterback.
It's a top 10 quarterback.
Guaranteed
dang it.
25, I'd say.
No
I'm putting that
slander.
out there.
Stop slandering the man. He's good.
All right. The reason I wanted to go last is because I'm not doing so well in our league, and because of that, I'm very adamant on the waiver wire, right? And I'm noticing a lot of people that are very low owned for what their talent is. None of them are my actual guy. I have my guy right now, but I do want to go over just a couple guys. I'm just gonna say their name basically and just kind of really quick one sentence things. But my actual NyQuil Knight is Philip Dorsett II, 35% rostered.
I almost picked him.
35% rostered. He's up 23.5% since Sunday. 23.5%. Do the math. 35 minus that. Someone's probably good at it. They'll figure that out. But the reason why is he's had 23 targets on the year. 7 in week 3. 9 last week. He's just going up. Brady likes him. Now, the downside to Dorsett, and probably the reason he's not as owned as he is although he had 9 targets, he only had 2 catches last week. Now, we all know it wasn't Brady's best game that we've ever seen. It was probably one of his worst games that we've ever seen. It was a weird game for Brady to have. The Bills definitely had the number. It was weird for the Patriots to not put up as many points as we thought they would.
Bill's defense is legit.
They did very well. But if a guy who was a first-round bust from the Colts, he goes and he's getting 7 targets in week 3 and now 9 targets last week, that's a guy you're going to want to pick up, especially now he's versing Washington this week. It's something that if you got a bye week, you can go up and pick up Philip Dorsett. And like I said, 35% roster in ESPN fantasy leagues. Almost every league is going to have him unless it's a deep league. So go look for him right now. Now, like I said, I just want to go through a couple of them before we wrap up the show. I did suggest Jacoby Brissett to Miller because 46.9% for a quarterback in the top 10 is just ridiculous, especially when he hasn't gotten under 20 points in our format where we do 6 points per touchdown. Another guy that you're going to want to look at, kicker Joey Sly for the Carolina Panthers. Kicker number 1. Dude. I picked him up. He's kicker number 1. He's the best kicker in the NFL for fantasy football. 41% owned. 41% owned. Not even half of the ESPN leagues have him on a roster. And he's the best kicker. I don't get it. He's nailing kicks from everywhere. He has a cool beard. Why would you not?
He has a cool
Why
beard.
would you not want him? Another guy, we talked about him. I think last week I talked about him. Daniel Jones. He's gotten a lot of points. His projections are high, but 60% rostered. He deserves a roster spot in leagues with how this offense is running, especially with Tate coming back. Saquon is back at practice. You're going to want to have a guy like Daniel Jones where you know the offense is going to be out there, especially with how the defense has a history of not being out there.
Probably for the long run, but I don't know about now.
Don't be sleeping on him, Clock. Don't you be doing it. Another guy you're going to want to look at, Michael Gallup. He had 22 points week 1 and 12.8 in week 2 in full-point PPR format. He's been injured since then. He's questionable to play again on Sunday, but he has been down to 64% roster. Dak has been loving Michael Gallup when he's on the field. It's hard to pass up a guy like that who could be a wide receiver 3 over flex play every week. And last but not least, by the way, these are all just on my team. I didn't even look at any other teams. Last but not least, and Kwok is going to love this one, Tevin Coleman. I put Tevin Coleman on here. He got injured week 1, but they signed him for a reason, and that was to be their best back, and he has the potential to do it. Their running game hasn't been the best lately. Tevin Coleman, 66% owned in fantasy leagues. I wouldn't play him this week. He's playing Cleveland. He might not even play. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll even play, but
he's 4% started.
Stash and dash.
Yes, but 66% owned. If you're in a smaller league, a 10-person league, 12 he might be owned. It's possible.
No, he's owned. Yeah,
he's probably owned 12.
But you look at the 10s and the 8s and anything between that. If you play anything worse than that, then you're not playing. But anyway, Tevin Coleman, he has the volume to be an RB2 in fantasy football.
Shanahan likes him.
Shanahan does like him, and I think that he's finally going to be able to get a fully healthy one at least next week, so he's going to be someone you want to look at. Those are just people on my rosters I'm looking at that are kind of low-owned, where I'm kind of looking at them like, wow, they have more value than that.
Surprised you didn't say Golden Tate with him only being 60% owned.
I already mentioned Golden Tate as a thing. We already heard my pitch. I don't need to go over it again. If he's not rostered, you're the one at fault, Miller. You see that? He folds on me, and I turn around, and I save his booty.
Miller is so rattled right now.
He is very
looking
rattled.
Down, wearing his Yankees hat, getting ready for Friday.
Getting ready for Friday.
Which is in another. Well, today is pretty much Thursday. It's a Thursday.
He's waiting for tomorrow. But as we said, it is Thursday. NyQuil Night's going to put you to sleep. Another thing that everyone's been sleeping on is Twitter questions. Where are they at? We put our tweet up every day of the show.
Craig.
No. We're waiting on Craig.
I'm
Craig
calling you out, Mr.
Might
Slate.
have to send him a text message after this.
He has not
calling you out.
He was a
Mr.
weekly
Slate.
question, and he has not given one.
Come on now.
Here's the thing: if you can always tweet us the question. We do post the tweet the day of, but if for some reason you don't, send the tweet to us. Obviously, if you send the tweet, it's going to give exposure. We love it. As always, check the YouTube channel. Last week we did have a little dysfunction with everything, so the last episode might be lost, unfortunately, but we do upload every episode there.
They don't want to see us win now.
It's okay. If you
stay winning.
If you miss out, you can always go check the YouTube channel, Third and Goal Radio Show, Fantasy Football. You can figure it out. It's also linked in our Twitter. Man, what am I? Oh, Twitter. Like I said, at Third and Goal Blaze on Twitter. All of our handles are also on there. Blaze Sports is also on there. Go give them a follow. Go check out all the other shows on there. We already mentioned 14th Floor Crew and Off the Ropes, all those things. So they're definitely cool.
I actually got 2 shows to shout out. I'm going to
Yes.
shout out Dissecting the Pitch on Fridays
Oh my
from
gosh.
10 a.m. to 11
Too nice.
featuring
He's
Gareth,
too nice.
Gareth Kwok, Miller McCaney, and Edwin Perez.
Thank you.
Check them out. Great. Get
that
Stay
soccer
updated
analysis.
with Champions League this week.
Oh
Good
man, we got a
matches
lot.
yesterday,
We do have a
or-
lot to dissect.
Yeah,
What else do they
great
want?
matches on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then also, I'd like to shout out another show that I'm on, Heat Check, Sundays from 4 to 5:30. You want to check that out also. But then also, like Jay said, all the other shows, 14th Floor Crew, On the Ropes with Harrison Klopp, great show. Also follow On the Ropes on Twitter.
Get ready for the
Great
Maze
show.
Minute on
Oh,
Sunday.
the Maze Minute on Sunday should be good after Iowa stomps Michigan.
Well,
the redhead was saved.
without further ado, it's time for everybody to go to bed. We've already talked about it. We're live from the Bill Austin Radio studio, Third and Goal. Go check us out on YouTube. Go check us out on Twitter. And we will be with you when you're 5-0 on the season.